Hello there, world of tankers, and welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Droodles Blitz, and in today's video, I'll be talking about the Tornvon. Currently, this is a Tier 8 Swedish Collector Heavy, a vehicle that I consider to be incredibly overpowered in Tier 8. Yes, I know I say overpowered all the time, but I think most players will agree that this thing's kind of insane. It has a really good gun, 400 damage per shot, surprisingly good accuracy. If you compare this tank's gun to that of a Soviet 122, it's night and day. Not only that, it's got great standard pen, great premium pen, 10 degrees of gun depression, a turret which you physically cannot penetrate in any tier 8s or 7s, let alone tier 9s too. Like, this thing's armor is just insane, and it's not even slow. It goes 37, it's got a good power to weight ratio. Honestly, I can't really say there is any downside to this tank. It's accurate, it's got good enough DPM to get the job done, armor that you can't pen, and even on flat ground it still has surprisingly good armor. The mid plate here is upwards of 250 thick. Like, the tank is so dumb, it's actually crazy that Wargaming put it into the game. The only reason it's not that OP is because it doesn't have enough DPM to necessarily scare you. But trust me, if this thing's on a ridgeline, it's basically impossible to deal with. But here's the thing. In World of Tanks Switch Reforged, it's getting even better, and it's changing tiers. And this is why I highly recommend that if this vehicle gets released within the next 6 or so months, that you get your hands on it. The Tornvon is going to have an insane level of DPM, and it's going to be an auto reloader. We can see, if we take a look at the gun, 2,467 effective damage per minute. Let's compare that to the DPM of the Emil 2, which is the Tech Tree auto reloader. This vehicle features, scrolling down, 1,920 effective damage per minute. So yeah, that's right, the Tornvon has 500 more effective DPM than the Emil 2. Not only that, the Tornvon has better armor. The turret is a fifth the size and much better in terms of its effective thickness. If we take a look at the Tornvon's turret armor, it's 284 thick. Wargaming actually buffed it from 270 to 284. And the Emil 2's turret, as we're all aware, is pretty easy to pen. It's only 175, so you can cut through this tank's turret pretty easily, even when using gun depression against most tier 9 and 10s running calibrated shells. You're not going to do that on the Tornvon. Good luck penetrating this thing's turret, let alone hitting the weak point. You have to remember, it's super angled, so it's only going to be this kind of flat bit right there that's actually an easy pen. This angling up here, you're not going to be able to pen. This angling down here is also going to be really unreliable to cut through. And I should mention, it features 400 damage per shot, a much faster intraclip than the Emil 2 at 2.7 seconds. Mobility-wise, well, it's also faster than the Emil 2. It goes 37 instead of the 30 that the Emil 2 goes. It reverses faster. Actually, no, its reverse speed is slower. I should say that. But in general, like, the Tornvon kind of just has every single advantage over the Emil 2, apart from super speed boost and reticle calibration. But seriously, who cares at that point? The fact that this tank has a better gun, it has better armor, better mobility, it just kind of allows this tank to be so much better. And we're going to showcase that with some gameplay here on the Ultra Test server. Now, most likely we are going to be going up against a bunch of bots, which won't surprise me at all. Sometimes you get lucky and you do get into a match with 8 billion real players, but most of the time it's like 1 or 2 players on the enemy team and then a bunch of bots. But we're going to find out. But yeah, I don't know. I think you guys will most likely agree that you should probably get your hands on the Tornvon. So this battle, yeah, it's going to be a bunch of bots. But it'll actually be a great showcase of this tank's DPM, mobility, and armor that it's going to feature. We're on, what is this, Canal. I think Wargaming did such a good job on making Canal look nice. It really is, it's a much better game in terms of the graphics. I think we can all agree. I'm just hoping that Wargaming gets the game to run better. If they can get the game to run a lot smoother, it'll be perfect. So let's head over to the... Oh, kind of got slid there. The physics are a lot different than the current Blitz, but let's move up. You can already see the mobility on this tank being pretty good. We're up to 36, 37 kilometers per hour. And oh, well, I guess I can't shoot that guy because he's not spotted. And you might say, oh, blind fire, but there's really no point. But there we go, we got an enemy Conway. Let me show you the gun that this thing has. Look at how dangerous this gun is, dude. Tell me this is not insane. That's 1, that's 2, that's 3. We just did 1,201 damage to that Conway. And then we just drive into cover. Now, here's the big difference between the Tornvon and the Emil 2. The Tornvon features worse DPM the more you eat into the clip. So you have a 14-second reload on shell 1, which is obviously a very, very long reload, And because of that, you're definitely going to not want to dump your clip. What the best way to use this tank is single shot, third shell. That's always going to be the best way to use it. It's also funny, right now Warforged is a little bugged and you can actually use adrenaline on the tank, as you can see. No, that is not actually going to be capable on this vehicle when it gets released. It's just right now. So we're going to reload, and we're going to get that final shell back. We got the enemy, a Skoda. There you go. Nice shell into the Skoda. We have the E50 and T30, but you can definitely see how much faster it takes to reload this third shell than it does the other one. So you're going to be a lot better off if you shoot once, reload once, shoot once, reload once. That's going to be by far the most effective DPM and where you get that 2,500 out. Kind of reminds me of how the Kron has really good DPM on the third shell right now. So we got one shell into the enemy T30, two shells into the enemy T30. Now we can start moving up. That Object 84 is a real player, by the way. I should mention that. So in the time that it takes me to move up here, we will be able to get a second shell loaded. So let's just, I'm just going to wait. Let's be smart about this. The Object 84 is over here, and I'm not really going to focus the E50. I don't think that's the smartest play to make, but I'll shoot the E50 once. I mean, there's no reason not to. Let's reload, and there we go. We get one bounce from the Object, and now we reload again. That E50 could actually be a problem if the E50 starts shooting me, and you'll notice that our gun does not have good levels of accuracy through the rear. Okay. The Object misses me. The E50 actually hits me, which is really annoying. Alright, let's reload, and there you go. Perfect. We bait the Object. Turning. Boom. There's a 372. We got to reload one more shell, and then we can take this Object out of the game. So we should be pretty fine for the most part. 3, 2, 1, and boom. There's a 407. Reload again. Boom. There's a 386, and there you go. Object 84 taken out of the game. It's such a good example of the auto-reloading capabilities this tank has, and how the DPM is actually really nice on this vehicle. So now we just reload a little bit longer. I see the E50 tried shooting me through the ridge, which obviously was not going to work for that player. And you can also notice the gun depression on this thing is crazy good. I forgot to mention that the gun depression on this tank is obviously much better than that of the Emil 2, so it also features better gun depression, which is kind of wild. There you go. Pretty easy game. 5,845 damage, 5 kills, and one of the easiest battles of my life, which isn't too shocking when you're up against a bunch of bots. We aced it. Got 170,000 credits from the ace. Wargaming definitely changed how credits are earned, right? We earned 500,000 credits in this battle. It's like unheard of in our current blitz. So even though they increased how much credits things cost, they've also increased the amount of credits you earn. I'm not sure why they did this, to be real. I don't know why they didn't just keep the current credit earnings the same, but whatever. I guess if you're earning more credits, it doesn't really make much of a difference if things cost a little bit more. Let's try one more game in the Tornvon and see how it does again. But yeah, you're kind of noticing just how incredibly dumb this tank is. That level of DPM is insane. The mobility is great. The gun depression is so good. And if Wargaming goes through with making this thing a tier 9, it's going to be by far one of the dumbest tier 9s. Even if it doesn't become a tier 9, it's still a really, really good vehicle in tier 8. So this game we have a T30 up against us. We have a 7.52 E50. Alright, it's an all tier 9 battle, so I can't get too mad. We'll see what we can do. My ping is, it's a little bit better. I think we're on the NA server for this game. I set my server to auto, so it just loads me into battles faster. But sometimes you're playing on the NA server, sometimes you're playing on the EU server, which your ping's usually like 150 if you're on the EU server. Alright, well, let's head over this way, and we'll see if I can get some damage out. Let's see. That volcano looks so bad when you look at that smoke coming out of it. Our WZ is already dead. Our Cobra is already dead, so that's kind of a bummer. We're still trying to move up. Alright, we're going to have to go into carry mode for this game, guys. Let's load in a high explosive. Boom. 453. Load in another HE. Boom. 545. And screw it. I'll take that player out of the game. Alright, let's start reloading. Let's move up. We took out Laser Kid. But, like, again, you can see how dangerous this gun is, this auto-reloading gun. It's accurate. Its intra-clip is insane. Just the fact that this thing has a faster intra-clip than the Emil 2 is already making it better. And then the fact that it also has more gun depression than the Emil 2 by 1 degree, and the mobility and everything else, it's just so good. So we're going to reload. We got 3 seconds left, and then I should be able to start using my DPM effectively here. Move out of my way, WZ. So we got 1 HE on the side of this guy for 625, and I'm going to get 1 more HE into that player. And you know what? Screw it. We'll take him out of the game. There you go. Alright, that's 2 clips now. 2 WZs taken out. Our team's not doing too well, though. 2,300 damage. Got the 50 TP in front of me. Now, the funny thing, as I mentioned before about this tank, is your DPM is less when you are dumping it on single shot. So actually the most effective way to use this tank would be to wait for my shells to come back. It might be counterintuitive. You might think, oh, just shoot him, you have shots, but it's definitely counterintuitive. We'll shoot him once, though. We just need one more pen, and then we'll take him out of the game. There you go. Got the Object 752 in front. That is actually a really, really scary tank, so we gotta be a little careful here. But Cobra's still alive, so that's good. I'm gonna push into a safer spot so that I can potentially not be nuked by that T-30. The player's not looking at me right now, and it actually just shot, so that's good. Alright, let's reload. 3, 2, 1. We can HE the rear of the Skoda, and we can get one more HE into that player's rear. Put on my adrenaline. Alright, so we got the 752 trying to push me. That's not necessarily good for me. Reloading. T-30 missed. That's good. Alright, let's move over this way. Keep on going. Keep on going. Hoping that 752 is not smart enough to push us. T-30 is, so I gotta be really careful about that T-30. Alright, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, let's see. There's the 752. Alright. The question is, what is this T-30 going to do? That is the big question right now. We have the damage output to deal with this player. Oh, there's the T-30, and he hits that. Wow, okay. Well, okay, and the 752 hits that too. Well, our game is no longer very good here. Let's be honest, guys. Got the Skoda taken out. T-30 is probably going to shoot me again, and you know what? I don't even care. Oh, actually, we got into cover. Nice, okay. Well, now what we have to do is obviously ring around the rosy with this player and get our shells back, and I just have to hope that the 752 doesn't rush. Realistically, I'm probably going to die, though. The 752 is probably going to push me. We just got to wait. Yeah, I hear the 752. He's on his way. That's a bit of a bummer. Yep, there it is. All right, well, the only play that I can make is to miss the T-30 because of my wonderful RNG there, and die. Yeah, there's nothing I could have done about that. I think that 752 might have actually been a real player. It says that they are not a real, or it shows that they don't have an avatar, but that player seemed a little bit too unbot-like to be a bot, if you ask me. But either way, we did pretty good. 4,500 damage. We did top on the team. And you can see where this tank is really, really good. I mean, it is a really, really good tank. Not as good as the completely overpowered T-30, evidently, but it is still a really fun vehicle. You guys can let me know in the comments what you think about the Tornvon, but I definitely would recommend to consider getting your hands on this vehicle if it gets released. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.